Hello and welcome to this Get It Done session. My name is Karen and I work for BVSC and the project is Impact in Action. BVSC as a whole offers lots of different support, so do get in touch if you would like to know more. And Impact in Action is kindly funded by the City of London Corporation's charity City Bridge Trust. Thank you. I offer lots of different kinds of support, so again, please do get in touch. And these sessions are supposed to be about marketing when it's not your job. When I've been working for lots of different small, medium charities, often I've needed to do marketing. I've got a little bit of training in it, but really if you want to go deeper, I'll be sharing some links later. But this is for somebody who's doing marketing as an add-on to their job, so it's just the basics really. And this session will help you to consider whether it's worth having a basic marketing plan, recognise that measurement can help you to improve, and have a basic plan of contacting your target markets. So thinking about the marketing strategy and plan, this might include these different areas. So the purposes of your marketing, who you are reaching and how, what messages, and some of this will have been covered in the other session. But something to bring in here is the need for a budget. And often when in your first foray into marketing, it may be that you go into it and there is no budget in your organisation. So by having a plan, you can recognise that there is or isn't a budget there, and it may be that part of your plan is to have a budget in the future. Timings also, so that you keep everything on track. Who does what? So you're thinking about capacity there, and how will you review, test different approaches? Are you checking whether your Facebook posts are gaining more popularity than your Twitter posts? And then risks and mitigations. So there are examples of marketing that has backfired on groups where there's been a lot of complaints about what they've done, including charity marketing that has got charities into trouble. So what kind of things are you prepared to risk, you think are worth the risk, and where are the mitigations that you can avoid unnecessary risk? So at this point in a live session, I would allow a bit of time to discuss why having a plan is useful or not. Now, obviously, I am in favour of having some form of plan, even if it's just a very basic one. And I think sometimes the concern about creating a plan is the time involved. But actually, by having a plan, you can save time in the future, because hopefully you've agreed the parameters and you've agreed the probable action points, and so it's going to save you time rather than rethinking each time you come to an activity. Am I allowed to do this, or is this what I'm hoping to do? Like I said about the budget, if there is no budget, by having a plan, when you come to the next year and you're preparing your budget, having a plan means that you've got more to say. This is what I think we need in our marketing budget. A plan also helps you to remember where you're up to and what messages that you're having. So especially if you're doing this on top of your normal job, you might do a piece of work on marketing, go away, do your real job if you like, and then come back to it. And by having a plan, you can make sure that you keep coming back and that you're on track. A plan also helps if there's staff turnover, because it allows the next person to know the direction that you were taking things in. And it breaks down the problem into feasible chunks, because sometimes it can feel that marketing is another extra thing that you need to do. Everybody says, oh, it's very important to communicate, but it's just such a big array of different things you could do. So a plan will help you to decide what things are feasible and not. So the different things that a marketing strategy can cover, if you want to go into more detail, the Media Trust offer some information. I've not actually tried uh, all of that in detail, but Media Trust in general have stuff on media. And NCVO, interestingly, puts the marketing plan as within the business plan. So that might be another option. Just thought that might be of interest. And then the Chartered Institute of Marketing, obviously, quite key if you're really going to go in depth. So moving now on to measuring. So if you're going to be doing some work, you want to be able to measure uh, whether it's working or not. Are you wasting your time on Facebook because everybody is on Instagram who's involved with you? So you need to have some measures. So in terms of output, you can have output type measures such as how many emails will you send out? And that is good if you need to prove that you've been working hard, um, that you're reaching out. It gives you some helpful information, but perhaps more interestingly is an outcome type measurement. And when I use these terms, output and outcomes, if you've done the 7 impact sessions, session 1, it's all about definitions of outputs and outcomes. Outcomes is what has changed as a result of what you've done. So what has changed as a result of your marketing? How many emails were opened? How many unique visitors were there to your website? And stuff like that. And so that's what you might want to measure. Well, how can you measure it? If you're measuring something to do with fundraising, it might be that you can use tools that you've already got. So your finance system may log where donations have come from. You can then work out what it was that prompted them. If it's a Just Giving site or something like that, it will say, you know, this is as a result of Mr. Blog's marathon sprint, and so it'll be clear, you know, what things are kind of working a bit more for you. The other way that you can measure on social media is to use Hootsuite. So if you join up, say, your Facebook and your Instagram and so on to your Hootsuite platform, then it gives you an analysis section where you can see how well you're doing. If you don't know about Hootsuite, there's another little video in the micro training session on the impact resources part of the website. And then in terms of measuring on your website, you can add Google tags onto there, and you add your tags onto your different pages of your website, and it gives you analytics. So normally this would all have information in it, and you could see how many views there were, how many unique visitors there were to your website, lots of different things, kind of almost too much. There are different ways, I believe, to do the Google Analytics. So you'd need to have a little check with how it would work best for you. So in the last session, we started filling out one of the tables, and this is available on the website for you to continue to fill out. And you've made a start on that. So now we're going to move into that session 2 target section, where you work out, you know, what is going to be your target of the different things that you're doing. So, and within that Excel spreadsheet, you'll see some examples. So there are different ways to plan out your marketing. It might be that you decide to use the calendar that you've got as part of your normal computer program. So this is an example from BVSC's calendar, where we have a, so there's my calendar, there's a colleague's calendar, but there's also a comms planner calendar, separate calendar. And in there we add in different things. So my events are here, the Superhighway Summer School, you can see on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then there's a break. And then the e-bulletin is always on a Tuesday, and so that is in yellow. So you color code, and you can see easily you know, that you're not, you know, the e-bulletin isn't every day sort of thing. You can work out a good spread of different things happening. You can also use the Excel spreadsheet, and if you go to another sheet within that document, you'll see this as a sample, and you've got the different months there. And I would say at the top of that, have your noteworthy national events that you might want to tie into. So, for example, if you're working for a domestic abuse charity, there's evidence that if there are poor football results, that domestic abuse may increase, and so you might want to make sure that you've got some communications going out in June, maybe even before June, and then some afterwards as well. And those communications would be different, very different for your beneficiaries compared to your funders. So yeah, that helps you to then break down your different groups, how you go communicate with your beneficiaries, how you go communicate with your supporters, and you might break those supporters down into, you know, dealing with trusts or dealing with individuals and so on. And then add in all the different components that you want. And it really helps you to work out, well, actually, most of our staff team are off in August. I'm not going to put lots of communication in there that requires, you know, I'm not going to do a mailing that requires lots of people to stuff envelopes. I'm going to wait until after that. So keep up to date with all the different things that are happening with Impact in Action by keeping in touch in the newsletter. And thank you very much for your time.